Yes, I want you to listen to this video um, with the interview from Channels talking about the bill, uh, which is currently on in the House of Assembly with respect to obligating people to actually vote. And if you don't vote, you most likely will be punished and sent to jail. So let's listen.
Turnout, given the number of people that registered to collect their PVC, voter apathy in that sense. Should we make voting mandatory? Would that be legal?
I think it's important to know that Nigeria will not be the first country that practices compulsory voting. Australia practices compulsory voting.
Yes, this is where I also have issues. Every time we talk about things that are standardized in other countries where rule of law functions properly, where people respect the rights of others. We bring in this false comparison, citing examples of where certain things are done. For instance, in this case, he mentions Australia as a country that practices compulsory voting. So Australia and Nigeria, they are on um, completely different levels in terms of governance, in terms of how things are done in those places. So I don't think it was a good example to cite Australia. But let's listen.
But here's my take, Jeffrey. I understand the rationale behind that proposal, which is to encourage, turnout at elections, because Nigeria has the lowest turnout in elections in the whole of Africa, even though we have the highest number of registered voters in our voters register, but we have the lowest turnout. 25% in the last election is abysmally poor.
All right. Lowest turnouts in Africa, as he has said. Yes, it is not unusual. It is not even a surprise. In a situation where the people feel like their votes don't count anymore, that even when they turn out, they go out of their ways to stay in line to vote, and then at the end of the day, they feel like their votes didn't count. There's election malpractices. You have people intimidating them during the course of their voting. So why would they want to file out every election to do the same thing? And at the end of the day, their votes don't count. So that is an obvious answer to the reason why we don't have voter turnout in every election cycle. All right.
I understand the rationale, but I think compelling and also imposing 6 months jail term is draconian in every respect, and it undermines the freedom to participate in the electoral process. I think that bill totally amounts to legislative overkill. I don't think that it will pass. We cannot compel participation, because not participating is also another form of political participation.
Yeah, this is absolutely outlandish. For even a bill to be on the Senate floor, to demand that people must vote in Nigeria, and then not voting will amount to you spending 6 months in jail. That is, like you said, very draconian. Very draconian. This is not what it should be. This is like an oppressive way of doing things. It's like what someone mentioned not too long ago, that you cannot beat a child and expect the child not to cry. See, this is a case of people doing the wrong things continuously, subjecting your votes to fraudulent actions, causing your votes not to count, and you expect people to still go there and do the same thing. In fact, that's the definition of madness. So our senators and the members of the House, they should think twice before even doing this. This bill should not pass. It should be an automatically be killed at the very preliminary stages. It should not even go beyond. It does not pass the test of reasoning, or it does not pass the test of logic. It only makes me continuously question if these people understand the conditions under which Nigerians are living. Whether they understand that Nigerians actually want change. Okay, let's continue.
We need to recognize that. And if the National Assembly, in its wisdom, is seeking ways, to enforce and ensure turnout in an election, then we need to ensure that votes count. Because if people trust that their votes will count at elections, they will show up. Secondly, people who are elected in elections should deliver good governance, so that when people reconcile the state of their livelihood and their participation in elections, they will turn out to cast their vote subsequently. But when people stand in long queues, they vote for people into office, and when people get into office, they don't solve problems that their voters ask them to solve. They only are interested in primitive accumulation of wealth. When that happens, people feel that voting is a waste of their time because leaders don't solve the problems that they vote them into power to solve.
Excellent. So that is the solution. You must do what electorates want you to do, which is to actually govern. You must carry out your duties, your responsibilities, and there should be consequences for bad behavior. There must be consequences for poor leadership. So when the electorate see that this is happening, definitely they will go out and turn out en masse to vote, because they know that their votes will count. And there should be massive electoral reform if you want things to change in this country. So this is exactly what it should be. Not to go pass a bill that appears as if you are in an oppressive regime where you have to force people to do what they don't want to do. People not voting is an expression of their right. Thank you.